Hello everybody, my name is Star Wars Boy. How are you? Welcome back to the channel for a brand new Star Wars Battlefront 2 video. In this video, we continue the Hero Guide series with a Hero Guide on Captain Phasma. Before I start the video, I just want to let you guys know that only a small percentage of my viewers are actually subscribed to the channel. So if you're not subscribed, be sure to subscribe. It's completely free and it does help out this channel. So let's get into the video. Taking a look at Phasma's base stats, she has a base health of 700, which is pretty good for a blaster character. Her health regain is 150, which is on par with all the others. Her weapon is her iconic Sunblast F11D, which she uses throughout the films. The damage for a hit is not that good, dealing 15 to 19 to the body and 39 to 36 to the head. However, where this blaster shines is his damage per second in rate of fire, coming at 205 to 162 DPS and 650 rounds per minute, making it one of the fastest firing weapons in the game. The drop-off damage is 35 to 60 meters, which is honestly really good. Taking a look at her abilities, her first L1 ability is called Staff Strike and has no cooldown whatsoever. Phasma replaces her blaster with a staff and deals high damage swings to her enemies. The damage is 162, 220 to non-heroes and 122, 200 to heroes, meaning that if you get all 3 staff hits, you can actually one-hit every class in the game. As for the pros, it does amazing damage and can kill a hero if all strikes hit, which is insane. I've seen clips of Captain Phasma's killing Han Solos with all the usages of the Staff Strike, and that's insane. As for the cons, however, it can be dodged and is only efficient at close range. You can easily dodge this ability after the first hit or even after the second hit and instantly fire back. It can also be blocked pretty easily by lightsaber characters. Overall, this ability is decent, but I wouldn't recommend using it a lot. Her right ability is her First Order Sentry droid, which has a 20-second cooldown. Phasma deploys a droid that can blast enemies and stun them in a certain area. The damage of the droid is 150 upon detonation. As for the pros, it has great stuns. Phasma's droid has probably some of the best stuns in the game as it consistently stuns enemies that are in its area of effect. It has also good damage when it does shoot at enemies and can be picked up and placed somewhere else. Another thing about the droid is that you can actually detonate it, causing a lot of damage, 150 specifically. As for cons, I'd honestly have to say none. Morally, this droid is kind of bad. As for Phasma, she only does really well with her droid with her in HVV. However, the droid itself is a really good ability. Her final middle ability is called Survivor and has a 20-second cooldown. Phasma is relentless and will never give up. She can increase her health pool temporarily. The duration of this health pool increase is 15 seconds. As for the pros, it grants Phasma 200 additional health and can actually give damage reduction if you do have a star card equipped. However, as for the cons, it only buffs herself, meaning that it will not affect your teammates at all. This ability also looks pretty bad if you compare it to Phasma's counterpart, Finn, who has another buff ability but actually not only buffs himself but his teammates. Overall, this ability is kind of bland. It doesn't really hurt to use it, but it's just boring. Taking a look at her star cards, the first star card I recommend using is Not Hard Enough. Captain Phasma gains damage reduction while Survivor is active. It goes from 20% damage reduction to 50% damage reduction with a maxed out star card. This is the card that I just mentioned, and it's honestly worth using as the Survivor ability is going to be worth a lot more when you use it. The second card I recommend using is her Easy Shots card. For every enemy Captain Phasma defeats with the Sunblast 411D, its heat will be reduced. It goes from 30% reduction to 60% reduction with a maxed out star card. Again, this star card is a given. Any card that reduces the buildup of heat on a hero's blaster is generally a really good card. It's not hard to get eliminations with Phasma's rifle, as it's pretty much most commonly the thing that you're going to be using the most. So it's a given that this card is really good. The final card for Galactic Assault that I recommend using is her safety first card. Captain Phasma gains more health when using Survivor. This health increase goes from 20 health to 60 health with a maxed out star card. Again, the Survivor ability is honestly not that good alone. However, if you have star cards to make it better, it's actually pretty good. So getting damage reduction and bonus health will help you out a lot. This brings the total health from 200 to 260. As for Heroes vs Villains, I'd honestly recommend the There Is No Escape card. After shocking 2 enemies or more with the first order Sentry Droid, the duration of the shock is increased from 0.2 seconds to 0.35 seconds. Honestly, this card is really good. Phasma's Droid is probably one of the best and overpowered things in Heroes vs Villains unless you have a blaster character. So if you're playing as a lightsaber character, you're most likely going to get stunned by this. And it will stun you more than 2 times. Which means that if you have this card equipped, it will help you a lot while playing as Phasma. Now, as for her best maps, these are 3 maps that I personally feel like I do best with Phasma on. The first one is Crate. Crate is a really good map for Phasma, as its very flat layout is honestly really good. You can sit in the middle-ish of the map and just pick off enemies, as her range is incredible. The second map I recommend is Starkiller Base. The second phase is chaotic, and placing a Sentry Droid right there is honestly really good. Now, the other reason I chose this map is because all the way back in my Anakin Skywalker guide, I actually said that this is one of his best maps. And that's why I actually recommend to use Phasma on this map, because Phasma is one of the best counters to Anakin Skywalker that there is. With her stun droid, it's going to be really hard for an Anakin to actually do anything against a Phasma. So placing this in the middle of the objective will help you and your team. As for the final map, I'd honestly recommend Camino. It's very close quarters yet open, and the final phase with really long hallways allows for you to shoot at enemies from large distances. Again, you don't have to use these 3 maps. These are 3 maps that I just personally do better with her with. Now, as for some tips and tricks, the first tip I'm going to recommend is to stay with your team while using Phasma. Phasma doesn't have really anything to take on a bunch of troopers and heroes, and she does have her stun droid, but it doesn't have that great range. So being able to stick with your team will help you a lot more in your kill streaks. The second tip I recommend is to use the Survivor whether going into combat or in combat. That damage reduction with the star card and that extra health will help you a lot in those battles. The final tip is honestly just going to be not to use the staff strike that often. Most of the times if you get picky and you go with a staff strike kill, you're most likely going to take a lot of damage or just get killed. So it's better not to full on charge heroes, as it may result in your death. So that's going to be it for this hero guide, guys. Phasma may not be one of the best heroes, but she is not even that bad. Earlier cuts of that Phasma included her having a grenade launcher and a shield that blocks all shots from the front, which would have been really cool to see. If you did enjoy the video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. We just surpassed 300 subscribers, so thank you guys so much. Again, see you guys next time. Bye, and may the Force be with you always.